Hello, I'm Tony from Bonner's Music and I'm here today with a brand new Yamaha P515 portable piano. So you can try the P515 in either of our piano stores. We have a shop in Eastbourne in East Sussex on the south coast and also another store in Reigate in Surrey, just 2 miles from junction 8 of the M25 motorway. You can compare the P515 with pianos from other manufacturers just to make sure you're making the right decision when you're purchasing a new piano. Sometimes instruments come along that just feel right. They look great, they sound great, they feel great, and I'm pleased to say the P515 is one of those products. First of all, let's just take a look at the styling of it. As you can see, the end cheeks here are sort of a shiny finish. They're actually plastic, but they give the same illusion as a polished ebony, shiny upright piano or a grand piano. It's got a very nice wooden stand and a proper triple pedal unit, which has got metal pedals. This piano replaces the old P255 model, and I must say it's a huge improvement. It's just not an evolution, it's revolution, I would say. It's so much better. In fact, the P515 is actually very similar in terms of its specifications to Yamaha's Clavinova CLP 645 piano. So that's they're sort of mid to higher range Clavinova full-size piano. All the features of that instrument are inside the P515. So let's start by taking a look at the panel layout. As you can see, it's a very simple design. We start on the left-hand side here with the on-off button and your master volume. You've then, to the right of that, got your song controls. So your record button and your play and pause buttons. Moving along from there, we have the metronome, and there's various different time signatures available, and then there's a button here marked rhythm, and there are actually 40 different rhythm patterns inside the P515 to make it a bit more fun to practice. So I'll come to those and give you a demonstration of a couple of those later on in this movie. We then move to the user interface with the display screen here, and it's a very clear LCD display screen, and it's very intuitive. You've got your function button on the left, and then you've got 4 arrow keys on the right which allow you to navigate the various menus inside the 515 operating system. Moving to the right of that, we have the new piano room button. And inside the P515 there are actually 10 different acoustic piano sounds. There's lots and lots of other voices as well, but if we're just dealing with pianos, there are 10 different piano sounds, and the piano room enables you to actually take each one of those voices and actually modify it to your own taste. So you've got access to various parameters that allow you to actually change the sound. You can change the tone of the sound, change the amount of damper, resonance, all sorts of parameters that you can change to tailor the sound to suit your style of music. As we move along to the right, we can select our different voices. The voices are divided into categories, so we've got piano, electric piano, organ, clavs and vibes, stringed instruments and others. And I'm going to give you a demonstration of some of those sounds later on. As we move to the end of the control panel here, we have the dual and split button. That allows you to actually layer 2 voices on top of each other, or you can split the keyboard and have one sound on your left hand and at the same time either have 1 or 2 sounds on the right. So you've actually got 3 sounds active at one time if you want to do that. And next we have the sound boost button, and what that does is enable you to change the EQ or the graphic equalizer setting. So especially if you're using this in a stage environment, then you can actually tailor the sound to suit the room or the environment that you're playing in. And then finally on the right hand side we have the reverb button. Now reverb is the name given to sort of the ambience of the sound. So if you imagine when you're playing in a large concert hall, then you've got nice echo, or a cathedral. Well, the P515 can actually simulate the sound of you playing in a recital hall or a cathedral or a large room or a studio, and certainly through headphones it sounds really nice when you use some of these features. So I'd certainly say give it a try. So let's take a listen to some of the sounds. We're going to start off with the Yamaha CFX Grand Piano sound. Now the CFX is Yamaha's top of the range concert grand piano, which you'll see on stages all over the world. And it's a really bright, vibrant sound. It's great for all different styles of music. So let's just take a quick listen to the CFX Grand sound. And now we're going to have a listen to the Bosendorfer piano sound. Now this is actually the sound of the Bosendorfer Imperial Concert Grand piano. The Bosendorfer tends to be a slightly more mellow, rounded tone, and it's a more delicate sound. So I'm going to play a different style of music for the Bosendorfer, but as you'll see, it's a really nice sound to play, and certainly for classical music, the Bosendorfer is my choice of sound from the P515. So that was a beautiful piece of music called Water Fountain. Now I only played the very first opening few bars of it there. Now what I'm going to do is still use the same Bosendorfer piano sound, but I'm going to layer the slow string orchestral voice with it as well. And this is really nice. It's a really nice combination of voice, certainly for playing film music and slower ballads, and it just sort of fills the sound a little bit more. So I'm going to play the second part of that piece of music now using a layer with the string voice. So as I said earlier, there are 10 different piano voices in the P515. I'm just going to choose a third one just to give you an example of a different type of piano sound, and this is the studio piano sound. Now this is a slightly brighter sound with a bit less bass on it and a little bit more treble at the top, and it's good for slightly more contemporary music. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to play a very simple piece of music, and then I'm going to press the rhythm button and introduce the rhythm, and then play the same piece of music, and just see how playing along with the rhythm just kind of brings it to life a bit. Now the rhythm doesn't just give you drums, it also gives you an automatic bass line, which you can turn on or off if you want, but it looks at what you're playing on the keyboard and it plays an appropriate bass pattern and bass sound corresponding to what you're playing. So take a listen to this. It just makes playing the P515 more fun. So a really important aspect of any piano is actually the feel of the keyboard. Now the CLP645 has got the same wooden keyboard. It's called an NWX wooden action keyboard, and it's the same keyboard that is found in Yamaha's CLP645 Clavinova piano. Now it has synthetic ebony and ivory key tops, and they've got a slightly textured finish to them. So what that means is that your fingers don't slip when you're playing. Like I said, the body of the key itself is actually made of wood. And it's got a really nice weight to it. It's slightly heavier at the bottom and lighter at the top, and that's true to a grand piano as well. So I must say it feels very nice to play. You can hear from this video that it's very responsive, but I really would suggest that you do come down to one of Bonner's stores to actually try this piano out for yourself, and you can compare it with other brands just to make sure that you're making the right purchasing decision when you're buying a new portable piano. Now we're going to move across to the electric piano sounds. Now, an electric piano refers to the kind of synthetic piano sounds that you'd have heard in the 1960s, 70s and 80s. We're going to start off with the stage electric piano, and this is the sound of the Fender Rhodes, which was the suitcase piano. Now we're going to jump forwards to the 1980s, and there was a sound in the 1980s that was very popular. Artists such as Whitney Houston used it an awful lot, and it was actually a sound that was created by Yamaha for a very famous synthesizer they made called the DX7, and this is the DX7 electric piano sound, and it's great for ballads, so have a listen to this. So we're moving through the sound categories now. I'm going to move on to the organ category. The P515 has a choice of either jazz organs, so that's your drawbar type organ sounds, and also some classical organ sounds. So let's just take a quick listen to one of the jazz organ sounds. And here's a very quick piece played on one of the classical organ sounds, and this voice is called Organ Principal. So the next sound category contains harpsichords, clavichords and the vibraphone. So I'm just going to choose the clavichord sound here. This is quite a funky sound. I'm going to introduce a rhythm as well, and you can just see it's great fun playing the P515, but it sounds good too. So the next sound category we've got is actually marked strings, but it actually contains string orchestral sounds, it's got choir sounds and also a few synthesizer voices as well. Now I'm going to demonstrate the choir sound here because I particularly like this, because in the lower registers it's got the sound of the male voice choir, and higher up the registers you've got the female choir. Now our final voice category is the others category, and that actually just contains some bass voices. Now what you can do with the bass voices is to actually split the keyboard, which I'm doing here. So I've got one sound on my left hand, it's the sound of an acoustic bass, and as I go up the keyboard you'll see that it then splits and I've got the piano sound on my right. So what I'm going to do is select an alternative bass voice, which is actually called the bass and ride. And what this is every single note has the sound of an acoustic bass and a ride cymbal together. And this is great fun for playing jazzy type numbers such as this one. So the P515 has actually got a really powerful speaker system on board. There are 4 speakers and it's a total of 30 watts, but it's, if you listen to it in the flesh, it really does sound very, very good. It's also possible to stream audio from a Bluetooth device such as a mobile phone or perhaps a tablet computer through the speaker system, and that means you can play along with some backing tracks that you've maybe got stored on your phone, or maybe go onto a website such as YouTube and play along with some of the video content that's on there. So again, makes it lots more fun. There's an audio input jack on the back of the P515, so you route the audio through the speakers using a cable if you want to as well. So another very powerful feature of Yamaha's latest digital pianos is the ability to be able to connect it to an Apple iPad and make use of Yamaha's Smart Pianist app. Now, what the Smart Pianist app does is actually take all the features of the digital piano you have it connected to and bring them up onto the touchscreen, and it makes it much easier to access all of the features and the menus that are stored inside the instrument. But it also gives you access to some things that you can't get to from the front panel. And on the P515, the Smart Pianist app actually gives you access to hundreds and hundreds more sounds than you can access from the front panel. Now, what you'll need is an Apple iPad. You'll need one of these, what is known as an Apple camera connection kit. It's basically just a USB converter cable that goes into your iPad. And you need a standard USB cable. So you just simply plug your USB cable into the back of the P515. You plug the camera connection kit into the iPad, and then you plug the other end of the USB cable into the Apple camera connection kit. Start up the app and away you go. And you will see that this gives you access to lots and lots of different sounds, and just makes using the instrument much easier. And certainly when you're at home, if you've got an iPad, I would suggest using the iPad with the P515 because it just makes it very, very intuitive. So let's just take a look around the back of the P515 at some of the connections. Starting with the right hand side, we have the mains input socket. And next to that we have the socket to plug in the Yamaha LP1 pedal board, and that's what gives you the 3 metal piano pedals. We then have the auxiliary pedal input, and that's where you would plug in a sustain pedal if you were using the P515 without the LP1 pedal unit. We have traditional 5-pin DIN MIDI in and out sockets. There's a USB to host computer socket. We have left and right stereo outputs on standard 6¼ jack connections. And finally, there's a mini 3.5mm audio input so that you can route the sound of another audio device through the speakers of the P515. That's if you don't want to use Bluetooth. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching this demonstration movie. The P515 is certainly one of my favourite portable pianos that's on the market at the moment. Please do come and try it out in one of our stores. You'll find more information about the P515 on our website, and you'll see links to our site and our contact information in the description below this movie. So like I said, thank you very much for watching. Please check out all my other piano demonstration videos, and I look forward to seeing you in one of our stores sometime.